The one thing that we all struggle with on a micro budget is locations. But the one thing I preach about all over our channel is when you're on a micro budget, you write the script according to the locations that you have accessible to you. And that's what we did with True Norm. Our pastor has a old abandoned warehouse that he uses for his food and disaster relief stuff. And it's an old agricultural research lab. And so I wrote out the script according to that warehouse. And that warehouse actually had everything we needed. You know, it looked abandoned. The paint was peeling off the walls. There was ceiling tiles totally missing. But we wanted to go 2 steps above what it actually was. We wanted to make it look like a burnt warehouse. But how do you do this when you are stuck with a very, very minimal budget? You know, it's kind of a challenge, right? And that's one thing I like about this is challenges. I like challenges. So what we ended up doing was my wife had the genius idea of smearing black paint around the walls to give it more of that smoke effect, like, you know, burnt walls. And then she went to the dollar store and bought some brown paper rolls, and we crumbled them up, put them in a charcoal bag, shaked it up, and we threw it onto the ground. Like, we scattered it all over the place. And that itself was meant to give it, you know, maybe there's debris falling, you know, it could be insulation coming down, which is awesome. You know, that's exactly what we were trying to go for. But then we had the bigger challenge, and it was the last piece of the puzzle in the script. You see, I always like to go bigger than what I really have the money for. Inside the script, we had it to where an I-beam, like a real I-beam, if you've seen them on construction sites, you know, they're very heavy. It was supposed to fall from the ceiling and pin an actor on the ground. Now, obviously, we didn't use a real I-beam because that would have severely hurt the actor. What we ended up doing was we went to our local hardware store and we figured out the right materials to use, and we ended up using 1-inch thick inner core foam insulation, and that was perfect. Just to let you guys know, so you guys won't live by our mistakes, is don't use spray can primer because it will literally burn through the insulation. What we ended up using was black water-based latex paint, and then we spray painted with various different colors to give it that rusty look. And what we did there was we used brown variants of different oranges, some yellows, and while it was wet, we sprayed some water on it, smeared it around just to give it that rusty effect. And the overall effect on the film itself, it was absolutely insane. Like, I'm going through the edit now and I'm just blown away about what we accomplished for the budget that we had for this project. All in all, the I-beam and, you know, the paint and everything else set us back maybe about $100, and the overall budget for the project was around $200. And it took us about 4 days worth of hard labor to actually get everything set, decked, and ready to go for the project. If you guys want to make an I-beam like this that we used in our project, you know, we're going to be posting another video soon, and I will explain how to actually go about making it. But it was a very simple process. It just took about maybe a day or so to create the actual I-beam. When we were on the set, we ended up using fog to intensify the effect and lift the shadows up. And my wife, she was also the set decorator. She was one level above us, and she was throwing flour down over the floor, which is like a metal grate, and the flour was coming down like a dust, and it just added to the overall effect. We are very excited to see all your guys' projects at the OIF event, and we will see you there. Stay tuned because we will be posting more BTS videos right here.